Hello viewers, and I appreciate you watching. Today is Saturday, October the 21st, and I'm at the shop. Finally got a free minute, and trucks are down right now, so I'm gonna take advantage of it. And Kayla's probably gonna be mad at me, but I'm gonna go ahead and service the Peterbilt V100 and kind of give y'all a rundown of how I service them. Just show you what all we have to go through. And usually this process takes about 3 hours to do it right, because I normally change the oil filter, fuel filter, check the air filters and blow them out, grease the truck from front to back, and then grease all the boom assembly. So there'll be a lot of cutting out of this video. Like I said, it usually takes about 3 hours. You know, we check the air pressure in the tires, all the fluids, rear end transmission, and I'll try to cut the what I call the fluff out of the video so you all can see the meat of it. And go ahead and forewarn you, when I PM a truck, usually I make a big mess. Some of the guys at the shop can do it and don't spill a drop or anything, but serviced one yesterday. It was just a rollback, but I figured the V100 show you more in detail of what all is required on these bigger wreckers. So with that, let's get to it. Get a pull handle and our pliers. These are our oil filter pliers that we'll need here in a minute. Like I said, Caleb's probably gonna be upset with me, but you know, he's on call this weekend. But you know, let him enjoy what little bit of time he's got off. I can do this, and then if he needs a wrecker, he can come get the KW. But while that's draining down real quick, I'd like to take a minute to thank Mr. Tom and Miss Diane. They came down about a week and a half ago. They're from Newborn, North Carolina, and they were actually at the beach, but they're subscribers of ours and watch a lot of our videos. So they came down just to see us. Unfortunately, I was not in the office, but they were able to catch Mr. Wilbert here, which, you know, like our business, he had a wreck that he had to get to that was blocking the road real quick, so he was able to spend a lot of time with them. But you know, anytime any of y'all are in our area, and we're normally open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So if you want to drop by and say hey, you know, we may or may not be in, but stop by and speak. Claudia or Leslie or somebody's usually here at all times. So just stop by. And Mr. Tom and Diane, like I said, we appreciate y'all stopping by and speaking and driving an hour and a half, 2 hours down here to see us. So once this oil finishes draining good, I'll put the plug back in and get it tight, and then move on to the oil filter. Remember folks, while you PMing your trucks and all up under, make sure you got your safety glasses on here, because there's so much crud up under these trucks and all that. You don't want dirt or any fluids at all to leak in your eyes. I know you got 2 eyes, but you definitely don't want to have issues with them. So, Alright, now we'll move over here to the oil filter. It's actually on the opposite side of the truck. These trucks hold 10 gallons of oil. So, that's a good bit of oil. We just took a 55-gallon drum and cut it about a fourth of it. And we drive it up on our blocks. Speaking of blocks, y'all see I do have my wheels chalked there. So while we up under it, in case it does release or something, it's not going anywhere. But back to the oil filter. This is the part I always make a big mess. That's why we keep plenty of oil dry here at the shop. Not only for wreck scenes, but for me, because I make such a big mess. And this filter on these big wreckers, they hold about a gallon of oil. I always drop it. But what I'll do here in a minute, first I got to change my gloves because they are saturated, and try to wipe this oil off my hands. What I'm gonna do now is I like to we stockpile the oil. We don't keep it in 55-gallon drums or nothing, or big totes. We just do the 5-gallon buckets, and that just seems to work better for us. I know the bulk is better, but what I was gonna say is I like to wipe the top of my drums off of buckets, because you know, they've been sitting up and dirt and stuff can collect on top of them. And the last thing we want is they introduce some type of dirt or sand into our motor. It's hard enough keeping what you got now clean. So. But I like to take just a dab of grease, not a whole lot. I'll wipe this off. I always put it just a touch around the top of my filter. Some people just take the oil and put on there, and I just like a light coat of grease myself on there. And when we get back around here, I'm gonna fill the filter up with oil before I put it on. So prop it up somewhere nice. I really need to carry it over to my vise, but I think I can get it right there. So that looks good and clean. And while I'm thinking about it, before look at your old filter. Make sure your gasket came off with your filter. So, alright, let's see if we can pour this without making too big a mess. And I just don't like my engines to dry start. And I'm not a mechanic by no means. But my daddy always told me, he said, if it's a filter hanging down, fill it up as much as you can to get it on with oil in it. So we got to leave a little bit of room in there so it can so we can tilt it if we have to or whatever, get it started back. But I think a little bit more and we'll be good. Y'all see the difference in pouring? When I pour it the other way, it catches air from the top side. But when I pour it with the spout down, y'all saw how it was sucking air, popping. All right, now the fun part is getting this under there without spilling it, dropping it, and getting it started without making a bigger mess than I've already made. Wipe my hands off a little bit so I can grip that filter pretty good. That didn't want to play nice at all. Using these pliers, now you don't want to grip, you want to grip it right at the bottom. I know a lot of people use probably a wrench, but I just grip it right at the bottom and don't grip too tight, because the last thing you want to do is punch a hole in your oil can. And if you grab it right at that bottom, I don't know if you can see it, but I normally go about a turn and a half after, you know, I had it hand snug. All right, that's the oil. So before we go on to anything else, we're going to fill it up with oil. And the reason I like to do that, if I was to start doing something else, like going ahead and greasing it or whatever, and then say I had to leave real quick or something, and somebody jumped in behind me, they might not know it didn't have oil in it and try to crank it up. That's the reason. As soon as I finish the oil filter, then I get all this done. Get the oil squared away. Alright. Normally I got somebody here to hand me this stuff, but that's okay. I can hopefully balance it and jump up there and pour it without spilling it and making a mess like I normally do. bucket down. All the dust off the top here. While this is finishing draining, I don't know if a lot of y'all know the story behind this V100, but when I bought this one, all we had was our 30 ton, our 25 ton, and the old Home 750. And we were pretty much killing those smaller wreckers with some of the trash trucks and all we were towing. So I had Billy over at American Wrecker start looking for me a 50 ton. Well, he is good friends with, well, his dad was good friends with the guy that owns Tow Industries out in California. So he had this wrecker on his yard. So Billy and I jumped on the airplane, flew out there, looked at it. Liked the truck, liked what he was asking for it. So we made the deal happen right then, and Billy and I flew back, and then I don't know, a couple weeks later, Billy flew out there and drove it all the way back from California, back to Sumter for me. Well, Columbia. He brought it to Columbia, and I picked it up in Columbia. But it took him about I think a week to drive across there in it. And he just took his time. But that's the story of this V100. They couldn't. It was pre-emissions, didn't have any emissions on it, and I think the tow company either had to put emissions on it or sell it and get it out of there. So that's how we came upon this truck. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been a good investment for our company. It does just about everything we ask it to do, and probably then some. All right, well, let's get on to our fuel filters now. Same thing with the grease. See, it's just a real thin coat. And when we service our trucks, every time we change the fuel filter. Every time. You know, a lot of people say, well, you can go 2 or 3 oil changes without a fuel filter change. Well, the last thing I want is fuel issues. If I bought my fuel at the same store every time, that would be a little bit different. But as y'all know, we go out on the road quite a bit, and you know, sometimes you have to stop where you can get it. And you really don't know what you're getting sometimes, and it just seems to work out good for us to do fuel filters every time. It's just a few bucks, you know, for fuel filters, but I think in the long run it pays off. Changing fuel filters paid off for me, because when I had those International Max Force, we had some issues with them, and that was the first thing International asked me was about my fuel filters. And you know, I explained to them I change them every time that I changed the oil. And I think they dropped it then, because I don't know if they were going to try to say that I needed to do that every time. Not sure, but you know, that was the first question out their mouth. And now what I got to find is my little pump here, and the same thing with my fuel filters. I fill my fuel filters up with fuel like I do my oil, and that way it just helps the truck catch prime a lot quicker. Look at that gasket and make sure it's Alright, believe it or not, that was the easy fuel filter. So, next one's up in here. Getting it off's not that big a deal. Just getting it back in there, in this hole, is the hardest thing. I think I'm going to take it off with my pliers. If it'll grab them. It'll grab it. Make sure that gasket's on that one. Same thing. A little bit of grease. Some of you mechanics out there, you might can tell me why. I would assume it keeps that gasket from sealing up tight to the motor or the fuel filter housing. That's the reason you put a little bit of grease or oil on there. You know, I don't know why. I was just told to do it, and that's what I've always done. So whether it's the right thing, the wrong thing. I say now this one gets messy because I have to go up under, over. There's really no way to get it down from the top side, I don't think. Yep, there we go. I just gotta catch it. You'll probably hear me say a lot about my dad. He said you ain't holding your mouth right or something if you can't get it started on there straight. So, that one didn't fight me near as bad as that oil filter. Now let's see. I can get that filter wrench up in there if I can. Alright, that's it for our truck fuel filter. We do have an air dryer filter here. Not sure if I'll get to that today. A lot of people forget about that air dryer filter, but you know, we're always hooking our air into other trucks, and you don't know what kind of moisture, contaminants come back through the system, and believe me, they do. You know, you get oil and water and all kind of stuff, and it's just best to try to change them out every so often. Now the fun part's greasing it. So this is what's going to take a while. So what we use, and I just use it on everything to keep from changing everything out, is high temp grease. I just start greasing every fitting I can find, and once I get under the truck, I'll carry my other camera with me. I hope all this video footage up close is where y'all can see enough to see what we go through. What I'm doing here, folks, is I just jacked the truck up just enough to get the tire where to roll. And what I'm doing is greasing my kingpins. And once again, I've always been taught grease. Daddy always taught me when you jack it up, grease your kingpins. That way there's no pressure on the tire. Then you can actually take a bar and stick in the tire and check your kingpins to see if they got any slop in them, and see if they need replacing. Grab my creeper here. Hit this kingpin. I'm not sure if y'all saw that. That grease fitting broke off. So now I've got to change out a grease fitting. Should be 3/8 or 7/16. Take an assortment of them because there's quite a few different ones it could be. Looks like it. Okay, viewers, as you saw, broke the grease fitting off, so now hopefully we can get back to greasing the wrecker. So I already greased my ball joint. Just start working my way on down the truck, and as y'all know, there's two sides to the truck, so with that being said, I'm only gonna grease one side, and we got all these fittings right here. It's like the clutch linkage and all that stuff. We had to turn this steering shaft to get to that one. Alright, we'll go ahead and let the jack down. I got my kingpins greased, and then I like a couple of ball joints up here. You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. My hat's off to all you mechanics that have a YouTube channel and video, because this just lighting and moving around so much, and just a whole lot of things. I've been fighting this the whole time. It just seems like I thought working a wreck and everything was kind of rough, but seems like I'd rather work a wreck any day and video than to do the mechanic side. Because it seems like a lot going on. So, alright, now we're going to move on to the back. Alright, if y'all noticed, on this panel up there was my there was a grease fitting that goes up to your release bearing and your clutch linkage and all that. So that's grease from the outside the truck, so you don't have to pull that dust cover off and everything. So now I'm at my drive shaft. So And what I'm gonna do is I go down I check for play in the drive shaft while I'm here. And my carrier bearings when I get to them. Just checking them for in case one's going bad or something. S-cam right here. And I'll grease all the brakes all the way down too. And I'll check my rear end grease while I'm under here. But before I check it, I will back it off and put it on level ground. But that's pretty much the mechanical side of it. Like I said, up front, the steering linkage, and I think I still like the brakes up there. But that's pretty much the brakes. While I'm on here, I'll check the brakes and make sure we got, we're not down to the wear bars, and make sure we got good brakes. But I'll finish greasing this up, and then I'll go and get up on the bed, and that's the main thing I want to video, is doing the bed. So I'm gonna finish this up, and then I'll get up top and I'm gonna back it out, and then we'll go through the greasing the wrecker part of it. Okay, viewers, went back around. I've got the kingpins greased. I went and got all the fittings that I forgot earlier. I forgot a couple of ball joints up here and S-cams, and got both sides of the truck, got the drive shafts, got the rear ends checked. All that's good. So now we're getting ready to fire it up. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pump it up a little bit, try to get any air that we got in the lines out before I try to crank it. And that'll just make it easier. And that way, once it cranks, I can go ahead and back it out, and then we can go through the boom and the whole wrecker bed for you. PSI idling. Okay folks, I'm climbing up on top here, and what I'm going to do is go down each fitting that we have up here, grease everything, then I'm grease the boom. And what this greases here is these boom heads swivel. So right in here, this greases this and lets that boom head twist with less resistance. We go through quite a bit of grease every time we service one of these trucks because it takes so much to service them. It's just got so many grease points on them. What I'm greasing now is the shiv on the boom head, and that's this pulley right in here that turns, you know, as the cable goes in and out. Grease fitting up in here that greases this pin. You don't realize how much you need to keep greasing these, so you have to take these pins out, and I promise you, you will appreciate it. You guys can see that there's a fitting there where the boom pivots. You can see it from this angle. We got one on each side of the rocker here. Okay, viewers, what we have here, we have two grease fittings here. What I normally do is I run my boom out 2 foot, then I bring it back in. Grease it. A couple pumps. Back in, then I go back out about 4 feet. Out with it to 6 feet, and I do that right on out till I get to the end of my boom. So I'm not going to take up your time doing all that, but what I am going to show you is on these V100s with the 3-stage boom on it, there is a grease fitting on the inside. A lot of people may think that these V100s just have one cylinder that runs in and out, but it does not. It has a cylinder, but it has cables and pulleys inside the boom also. So you have to push out. You see this hole right here? Get in line. There's a grease fitting right in here. That you're going to shoot a couple pumps in on each side. Then we just work our way right on down the truck. Usually where there's a pin, there's a grease fit. It might be on one side, might be on two sides. You just have to check. Real important one is this one right here. This is where, you know, all your weight's always twisting on your when you're towing something. There's a bushing in here. You can actually grease this one more than every service. Because to me, you can't get too much grease in that. Okay, like a few cylinders on the underlift on the inside, but right now I'm gonna cut the truck off because I'm gonna show you one I think is real important that maybe you tow guys do or don't know. But make sure I'm still recording. I've already been through several batteries. But the ones I want y'all to see are right in here on your handles. And let's say you may not, it don't take a whole lot, just a couple of pumps of grease. You have to push your handle up to get it in there. Now I got to grease the, well, I tell you what, y'all saw me grease the control panel on that one. So another thing we grease is our snatch blocks. And our snatch blocks take a bunch of abuse because we actually leave ours hooked up on every big wrecker we got. And, you know, that helps the wear and tear on the wire rope. They get drilled through the mud and water and sand, and you know, all I want is just to turn, get some weight off of it. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Okay, viewers, as you see, there's a lot to PMing one of these heavy duty wreckers, especially by yourself. But I still got a lot of work to do, but it's minor stuff that like checking air pressure in the tires, and there's a few more grease fittings on the wheel lift up under the truck that I got to get. But for the most part, that's what we have to go through when we PM one of our heavy duty wreckers. But we appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and if you like our content and channel, please subscribe. And as always, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you on the next one.